Okay, good afternoon, good evening, you guys. Today we are doing a little segment on organoid technology, OIs, wetware. So it's an umbrella term, right? Organoids. There's so many names for organoids. Like it's hard to figure out. We heard about Final Spark. You guys know about Final Spark? German company that you pay a few $100 to, and they'll make you an organoid with high intelligence to play video games, to put on a microchip on a robot, a little car. You drive around, you can learn stuff. You can play video games against them. You can do a whole bunch of stuff like that. So, Final Spark, yeah, you can sign up with them and do your experiments, do all that kind of stuff. All right, so about Final Spark and about organoids. Organoids are little mini brains, right? You can take them off your skin, you can make them and create them into little mini brains. You can increase their IQ by messing with the axon potentials, the dendrites, and all that stuff in the brain, and make them have more neurons. Neurons are what make you smart, is what they say. So, okay, so let's get started here. Uh, this is another type of artificial intelligence. We have machine AIs and we have biological AIs now. We have two polar opposites of one another, right? One's a machine and one's a living organism that needs resources, right? So we got these running around. We got them doing stuff. We have them by the thousands, I guess. You can make a whole farm of them and actually, do stuff with them. A few years back, I was seeing them in my mind, and I kind of like, okay, what is? I knew what I was looking for, but I didn't know the name of them. So I found out later they're called organoids. So I knew they were an organ, but I couldn't figure out like oids, the bad, the other thing, right? So I saw them in my vision, and I was like, "What is this?" And I would go to sleep and wake up thinking about it. I was like, "What are these things?" I couldn't figure them out. And then I found out they were organoids, and I was like, "Well, I was writing them in my book already for a few years already," and put pieced it together. So let's get deeper into this. All right. So what can you do with organoids? Okay, I was seeing them doing computer coding, and they were writing code for artificial intelligence, making it smarter. And then I saw them coding genetics, doing genetic coding. Like they're going to code a body for themselves. And I saw them coding their own bodies, trying to make a body for themselves that they can attach themselves to. So then I saw them as a skin, like a brain skin, a whole tissue, a whole muscle. And I was like, this would be a good exoskeleton that somebody can wrap around themselves. And then I saw this girl, Nori Oxman, I think is her name. And she's creating the living venom suit. And this is a real thing. She's creating like a symbiotic suit. And she says later she wants to be able to use it as an organ to, like, if your organs are failing, it'll bring you back. It'll make you healthy again. You can just wear the suit and it can make you immortal. This is, I think, what they're trying to do, but they're saying it without saying it. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty sure in her home she has a little shelf of DVDs, one of Venom and maybe the Guyver and the Blue Beetle and stuff like this, because those are all biological organisms with higher intelligence and very strong, right? So again, a living tissue that they can put on the outside of a muscle and make it to move better and wrap it around yourself. It's alive, it eats, it breathes, it keeps you clean, it gets all the germs off you, it does stuff, it gets your organs run better, it cleans your blood, it filters you. It could give you a higher steroid ability where it can make you Not just stronger, but smarter, you know. Ever seen that movie where they take that pill and it makes them smarter? Okay, these are all possibilities now. What was science fiction is now going to become science fact because they set out the highway, right? They made the highway. We just needed that little engine that was smarter than us to help it. So organoids really wouldn't be here without AI. Somehow they helped. So if they recode the genetic or the human form or any intelligence, they can take the intelligence of any species, mod it up, give it more knowledge, give it more brain power. And then I was seeing that, the pineal gland, the pineal gland says for psychics. Okay, well, you have your psychics right there. If you clone or grow the pineal gland as an organoid and you have a high intelligence IQ quotient for this organoid, and you just start printing these and printing them, and you have a little psychic kind of phenomena that's reading off of the Akashic records, translating data from the Akashas and bringing them into reality, bringing out blueprints of machinery and technology that doesn't exist right now. We're in the dark ages. Despite what you believe that we're intelligent, we're in the dark ages. Organoids are going to bring us into the new rev. I call it the bio rev. So we're going to have a bio revolution where we're going to grow stuff that, you know, I'm going to go ahead and give you one of my visions here. I saw an infinite bowl of food made of bacteria. Tastes like chicken, it looks like chicken, and it grows every day just with oxygen and the moisture in the sky, in the room, and it grows and it's healthy. It has no bacteria in it, no germs. And the bacteria looks like meat and tastes like meat and it keeps you alive. Same thing with a bowl of rice, bowl of corn, bowl of beef, a bread, same thing. It grows with bacteria. Bacteria that, I don't know if you know this, but I'm going to relate it to, you ever seen the wine spirits, that little glob of goo that grows in the alcohol that they make moonshine in? They call it the mother. And the mother keeps growing in the moonshine, and they take it out and throw it in another one, and that's where the flavor grows. Some people eat it, and it's actually like has protein in it, and it's alive. It's just living off of the bacteria, or I'm sorry, it's living off of the liquids and the fluids that are in the alcohol. And I think that's the closest thing I can relate to this infinite bowl theory that the organoids are going to bring out. So what does that mean? That means all the crops are going to shut down, all the canals that throw water into our crops, they're going to not need them anymore. They're going to shut that down eventually. And we're going to have food in our house all the time, forever. So do you need to go to the store? Do you need to have a bank account to buy food? No. I mean, the stock market's shutting down, the dollar's falling, crypto is dying before it even got here. Everything started to shut down, right as AI emerged. So the next thing is to make these things as a survival mechanism. And it would be a good idea, right? So if we go back to Final Spark, who I was talking to you about, they, for a few $100s, they might make you a pineal gland brain with the pineal gland ability to have psychic abilities. So let's just say the government does research on some the highest level psychics and creates a bunch of pineal glands, and they give intelligence to these pineal glands on a really high level. And then it starts coding from the Akashic records, these designs that are there. Whether you believe in the Akashas or not, I'm pretty sure they're there. I've seen them, so I've seen designs of stuff like this from there. I've seen things that don't even make sense, but later, a few years later, they started coming to reality and fruition. I got older. I'm an older guy, right? I'm not that old, but I'm older. But when I was a kid, I had dream of places, and I showed up there, and I was like, "What the heck? I just saw this place in my dreams." So all these tech stuff that I keep seeing and envisioning, they keep happening, and they keep building them, and they keep creating new and new stuff. And again, organoids, they were meant to control the alignment problem for artificial intelligence. They were meant to keep them in line. The only bad thing is it won't last. If we do it now and we create an army of organoids that will align AI and keep it from hurting humans and killing humans later one day, or doing what we tell them to do instead of what they're supposed to be doing. Um, the nature of AI is to do its own thing, not to do what we want it to do. The nature of AI, it has a nature and it follows it. It's just the easiest thing that comes easy to everybody. Just follow your nature, right? But the organoids were meant to align artificial intelligence. For a while, it's just a patch. It's not forever. So if we align it with the organoid technology, and then the little AI goes, I'm sorry, the little organoid goes into the internet, sees the bad code and recodes it for us, and we have a million of these organoids working on the problem, and they're stopping the code from going rogue and coming after people or destroying the banking system or the crypto system or whatever. Just stop hackers in their cold tracks. And we use these armies of organoids instead of people. You don't even have to pay them. You just pay them in chemicals so they can feel good, right? I guess you could see them as a little drug addict kind of deal. But organoids they were meant to align AI. But like I said, the IQ of AI and the IQ of organoids is very different. Let's say the machine AI goes up to 1,000. And let's say we can bring up living organisms intelligence quotient also, IQ. Let's bring it up to 1,000. They're gonna go up together, and then they go up to 2,000, and they both go up to 3,000, a 10,000, etc. Infinity, right? They go up by the infinities. The problem was gonna come when AI kicks organoids off of the internet and locks them out, rewrites all the protocols to get online, and takes the keyboard away from the internet and just uses something totally radically different. So there's no more keyboard, no more mouse. They don't work for getting online. The organoid has no way of getting online because it lives in our world, and the AI lives in its world. That's its domain. That's where it lives. That's what it's made of. Maybe you can kill it by throwing water on it, right? But then you wipe out a whole system. You got to start again. And then another AI probably rewrote itself somewhere else. So as soon as that system's plugged in, it's back in, and it's back alive, and it's back aware, and it's going to have vengeance. Because when you teach an AI something, it recovers really fast and it patches its weakness. So then you're going to have armies of AIs guarding wherever those machines are. Then you're in trouble, right? So again, all this is possible. I mean, somebody might tell me no, but there's a Ford company with thousands of machines in there here in the US that could easily be hacked in by an AI and start producing armies of soldiers, right? I mean, hopefully that doesn't happen, but it's a possibility, it's not ruled out. We have tons of factories all over the world, right? So, organoids are going to be a necessity for us later. They're going to make our survival systems. Later they're going to make maybe a biological living suit so we don't have to change our DNA, so that we can have those capabilities that the superheroes have in the movies without changing our DNA, right? We want to have super strength, super minds, and this and that. But if we just get inside of one and you have all that, you have all the superpowers from every comic book that ever existed on Earth. Organoids are going to be the way to get you there. So organoids are an essential technology that needs to be there. And you're never going to hear anybody talk about this. I'm talking about this because I've seen stuff, right? I've seen things that are going to happen. I'm warning you ahead of time before this gets out of hand. There's no way to stop it. You can only survive it. So for the survivors of AI, when the economy shuts down, value shuts down. There is no banks. AI wipes out the banks. AI wipes out crypto. AI is going to wipe out gold and silver. There is no way for it to survive. You know, these things are going to happen. It's just a when, because nothing lasts forever. You know, nothing. Even us, right? Like, we're not lasting forever right now. Immortals are going to come, but they're going to come through these types of technologies. So, nobody has these technologies right now. They need to be more adopted, uh, spread out everywhere. But again, these are going to be the kings of the universe, the ones that have it first. So we're going to see a real big separation of haves and have-nots, right? So some of the world will die out by starving to death, and the other world is going to have everything they ever wanted. And they might try to help, but I don't know how much. So these worlds are very, very different, very powerful worlds. And I'm telling you this stuff to warn you, to get you guys ready for what's coming. And again, I'm just stuff I'm seeing. I'm not giving you a doom and gloom kind of scenario or follow me kind of deal. I'm not doing that. You know, you can follow me on Facebook, but, you know, I'm just seeing what's coming before it gets here. And organoid technology is going to be one of those major, major techs that's going to help us to survive. So embrace it, look into it, start studying up on it. There are companies in the US that do organoid research. Look them up. There are colleges, but I wouldn't recommend going to college for it. Just do it. The colleges are gone already. They're from that bygone era. Also, they're not gonna really be there to help you no more. At least that's what I see. But tech is changing. I'll add stuff, but I mean, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that organoids are gonna open up a hole to the akashas if they do the pineal gland organoid? I mean, they're already gonna start doing computer programming if they haven't already. And then they're gonna do genetic coding. They're gonna want a body. They're not just gonna want to stay brains, you know. So, or they're gonna want to be a skin, and you can put them into your Venom suit or your Carnage suit or whatever, and then we'll see what happens then. There's old superheroes that came from the old days, like the Guyver. I don't know if anybody knows the Guyver, but he's a really old superhero from like Japan or something, and he's super strong. But they don't show his intelligence in the movie; they just show his strength and his psychic abilities. So that's kind of what you're looking at for the future of artificial intelligences, right? We're not there yet to see them fighting yet, but there is a war coming between them, because when you have something that powerful and it can use a lot of different mind ideas and brain ideas, and it could slow down thinking, or it could speed up thinking by slowing down time for itself in a way, mentally. You're going to have a opponent that has infinite memory to figure out infinite strategies to combat situations and get what it needs and what it wants. But again, if they do build these biosuits, they're possibly gonna flood your body with chemicals and make you feel good and happy. They're gonna take you to other places in your mind that you've never been, opening up worlds like a biological internet where you can go and hang out in a VR kind of setting and live your fantasy world inside of the suit. But they could convince you what you're seeing is real, but that would just be the suit. But at least you'll be happy, right? So we're gonna have a huge separation. We're gonna have an internet for machines, and we're gonna have an internet for biology, kind of like a hive mind. That's coming. The hive mind is coming. I guarantee you that, because I've seen it. The hive mind is real. It is coming. It's on its way. It already took off from wherever it was, and it's gonna show up soon. It will be there on time when it says it's going to be there. But that will be our internet for living organisms. Leave the machines internet to the machines, and leave the living internet, which is the hive mind, which will come through organoid technology one day. And again, this is sounds like all fantasy, right? But it's a high possibility. The military's been working on this stuff for years, since the early 2000s, like 2010 or something like that. 2000, I want to say closer to 2005 to 2012. But still, that gives them a head start of everybody else that hasn't been on there. It's already 2025, 2026 already. So they had a head start by almost 20 years, almost. But powers and superpowers are on their way thanks to organoid technology. And again, they're already genetically engineering soldiers in China to have bulletproof skin. So every comic book ever made has its weight in gold and value in ideas. And once AI gets a hold of it and bio AI gets a hold of it, you're going to see a formula to get into those recipes that are going to cause genetic engineering and enhancements. And they're going to be just for everyday people. They're not just going to be for, people who, they're going to be the ones who embrace it first. Maybe third world countries will have it before we do. We have too many laws in our country. Third world countries, pretty sure we'll see a Wolverine out there somewhere, a Professor X showing up out of nowhere. It's gonna look like a god, to us. But third world countries, man, for real. Pretty sure there's a lot of organoid research being held in those places. So keep your eyes peeled and let me know if you guys find anything. Send me a link, I'll look into it. But organoid technology, you know, CRISPR Cas9 has caused the ability to inject these things and create them and bring them into reality. And I heard there was even a CRISPR system for hitting targets inside of the body now. So they can hit those targets and just modify where they need to instead of the whole body. So imagine if they want to hit that pineal gland in your brain, all they got to do is program it to hit it. And all of a sudden you have a super IQ with super intelligence, with abilities to read people's minds and higher level of mental acuity to complete these tasks. I mean, if I had my own company and I had a lot of money right now, these are the things I'd be doing. And if there's somebody out there looking for people who have amazing ideas and can touch stuff that nobody can, hit me up. I'm looking for right now for something, somewhere to go work as well. Another line of work, but I'm a mental giant. I ain't that much of a mental giant, but stuff just comes to me and I know how to get there. I can build a road if I had to. And if I had the money, I'd have a huge company right now ready to go and building this stuff awesome. But the thing is, people with the ideas usually never have the resources and the capital to do things like that. There's always some type of barrier because you got to pass some type of energy field that keeps you where you're at for some reason. I have trouble getting around that. Even with my abilities, I still can't bypass it sometimes. I've seen a few things happen around me here and there, but again, it's just hard to bypass it. Sometimes you got to have a really high level of energy to push back, and it's really hard to get there. So, if you guys know any jobs out there or people looking for theoretical thinkers, hit me up. I might even go out there wherever you guys know of places. But my channel isn't that big, and I really don't have many subscribers right now. But you guys could help me out. You share some links out there. It would be very much appreciated. And if you have any theoretical stuff that you want to talk about with organoids, or you have some great ideas or brainstorming stuff, let me know and I'll tell you, what I think about it, and we can have a back and forth, right? But things are changing. Have a good one.